Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I hear that there's a colossal number of people interested in buying a house this year.
Yeah, I read that article too. It's interesting. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm gonna do a share so we can take a look at this article.
there's one big number that I'll talk about, but then you can go through it. So last year they were saying there were 700,000 homes exchanged hands in Canada last year. On this poll, they plan that over the next 12 months, or 4.4 million Canadians plan to buy a home. I find that a stretch, to be honest, when we look at the number last year, but I think demand has really, again, there's only how many, a couple thousand surveyed as I skimmed through the article, but I do see the phone ringing back from a lot of young buyers that are coming back to the market because I think they're afraid to of missing out, right? If they don't get in now, they may not have a chance later on. And I think because they may not, because we know that the what's going on in the market now, and we know where the inventory is, hot and heavy in a sense that there's demand for, there's just so much demand, and this is driving some of the prices up. So, I see that happening, but I just don't believe that big 4.4 million people plan to buy in Canada in the next 12 months.
Well, I know. And the survey also says it doesn't really say if it's first-time buyers, current
Oh,
homeowners.
yeah,
So you don't really know if it's people moving up, moving down.
we don't know. And,
Because
and
it
there's
could
a
be,
lot of that.
well, it actually could be people that are deciding, okay, my mortgage is up for renewal. We're going to actually downsize,
100%. 100%. There's lots of
right?
that. 100%.
And it's saying here the home sales over the last 2 months are pointing towards signs of recovery.
Right.
And Korea published that the 3.7% sales were up relative to December, but we've seen that little blip ourselves, right?
We're seeing there was that sales or prices at 3.7
Sales.
sales. Okay. So remember, this Korea is on a national level. We're a micro market, right? This is all Canada. Barrie's seeing a 22% increase in sales, right? What was
Mm-hmm.
it? About 8.1% in February of year over year. So we're seeing it in different markets. And a colleague of mine, a good friend of mine, works in the North York area in Toronto, and they're busy. What's selling down there is basically a million,
Yeah.
right? Which is our, average 650 to 7, saying just multiple offers, multiple bids, you name it. So,
Well,
but
and this is another interesting thing because they say, is it a good time to buy? Which everybody asks us that, right?
it's $1 million question.
Yeah. So the MLS home price index fell by 1.2% month over month, but was still slightly up by 0.4% compared with a year ago.
Right.
And
But that's a national.
well, listen, recent price decreases were mostly seen in Ontario and to a lesser extent in British Columbia. In Alberta, Newfoundland, Labrador, prices were continuing to climb, but they're mostly holding steady. So the price decreases are us in BC.
Well, yeah, we see that in certain markets because look at the cost. So let's talk about Alberta for a sec in the east and the west. Alberta, your dollars go far in Calgary today, in certain parts of Alberta than they do here.
Yeah.
With the East Coast, your housing dollars go a lot further than Central Ontario and Southern Ontario, right? How
Yeah.
many we know, we have a lot of expensive properties here, right? They're not flying off the shelves anytime soon. And we've
No.
seen that in our community and even in Simcoe County, and they're still seeing it in the city too. The hot range is still hot as affordability for people's income to be able to afford. Like the average income's a lot lower here in Barrie than it is in Southern Ontario.
Well, and yeah, they're saying here that really what they think will heavily impact it is Canadians pinning their hope on rate cuts.
100%.
And the Bank of Canada has kept its benchmark at 5% since July 2023,
Right.
holding it steady in the last 4 consecutive decisions,
Right.
but they've remained mum on when they're actually going to cut.
Correct. Well,
So they
powerful.
think it's interest rates that really going to tell the story of 2024. if they stay comfortably below 5%, I do believe we're going to have a busy spring market. If they climb back up, the demand will taper off. A
Certainly.
majority of prospective home buyers, 76%, who plan to purchase in the next 5 years, said they intend to use a down payment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 60% said they have started saving for that, a drop from 76% a year ago. So they're saying that the more you pay up front, the better off you're going to be, of course, even with the higher interest rate, because your mortgage will be lower.
What's going to be lower?
If you save up more money to put down, your
For
mortgage
sure,
will
for
be
sure,
lower,
for sure, for sure, for sure.
right?
Oh, yeah. But you know, I think in the US, Powell came out last week and they're getting close. They're happy with what's going on down there. Their economy is still fairly strong. Employment numbers is tapered up a little bit more, but they will, I think by June, there will be some rate decreases. And I think we'll see the same thing in Canada. Things will
You know
slow.
what, Mark? Don't you think this colossally high number of Canadians, don't you think, like, this is the thing we were saying. I'm going to stop the share for a minute. This is the thing we were saying last year when the rates were going up and up and up, that they're talking about that the rates are going to go up. They put the fear of God in everybody and nobody wanted to buy.
But they had to go up because inflation was so high.
Yeah,
So
but now they're doing the opposite.
because things are changing, inflation is coming down, right? So
So now they're trying to stir people up. Yeah, you can go buy. You should buy.
well, I don't think they're going to take Tiff's opinion because he shocked a lot of people in 2020. We told them to go buy. Rates will be low for a long time. I just think people need to feel comfortable with that, with their decisions today, right? I mean,
I don't think they believe them anymore until they see it.
they don't, but just imagine that person's struggling to save for a down payment or whatever is paying 3,500 a month in rent.
I
How much are
know.
they saving? They're done. They know there's no return on that. There's no equity building. It's going to be tough. So, and I think it's the young ones. I got a referral from a past client today on a young his young friend. He's proved at 5 and change, wants to buy a condo, 1-bedroom condo in South End. Okay, we'll find something, but he's young. He's got 50K saved up. He's got to start. Good job, good employment. Yeah, I think these young people need to get into the market and just, go buy a condo. Look, who cares what it is? Who cares if it's Bell Farm Road
Yeah.
at 350 or 360? It's in the marketplace. It's
Well,
going
the
to.
other thing too is they need to talk to a mortgage person. I was talking to another agent this morning who had a client contact her about doing a new build and putting money down, and she has $50,000 too. And I mean, the biggest thing is I said to her, don't even do anything until you get them to talk to a mortgage agent, because even at 100 grand, you cannot get qualified. Well, I think it's maybe 450 for the mortgage, maybe.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was asking Rob this the other day, and he said at 100 grand income, mortgage 450, I think.
okay, so that does get you nothing here in Barrie or Innisfil or Simcoe County. So that's the thing.
Well, you might as well check that before you run around. Like,
Well,
and even
sure.
for people to know what they need, what the goal is, like what is their target. They don't need, unless you talk to somebody, you don't even know what your target is.
Oh no, I agree. They got to get qualified first before going house shopping and all that stuff. And some of them are moving to different markets due to home affordability. How many
Yeah.
people we see moving out of Simcoe County can't afford to live here? I'm thinking of my exit in a couple of years, going, you know what? I can sell this for that. I can go out to Calgary. I want to go to Banff, so those areas, and buy something out there for 5. Put a couple $100,000 in my pocket.
Yeah, I know.
How many other people are at my age thinking that way too? Time to leave Ontario. It's very expensive.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot. So,
I don't think this colossal amount of people is going to materialize, but
I think that number is kind of far-fetched, but we are seeing some signs of picking up so far for the first couple months.
yeah.
But we saw that last year as well too. The big question is can we sustain the momentum, right? And if it's fueled by younger people, they're competing, right? I have a gentleman that I've showed a bunch of properties to compete. And we did one, but can't go, and it sold for 30K over. It was 625, you know, the property. Anyway,
Yeah.
can't go any higher. You just can't.
No, you got to be careful.
You got to be careful with it. Like that's not the property to compete at. It checked off most of the boxes, but somewhere it's going in. I don't know here. The bedroom's kind of small, and that's a concern for resale for sure. So, you know, it's the ones to compete.
I think the main
Check them
takeaway
all
is
off.
that people have to take these things with a grain of salt. When you read these articles and these things, I saw that other video about real estate agents are breaking the law. Like, oh my golly. I mean, when you watch it, it was just kind of silly. It wasn't silly in the matter of that, yeah, real estate agents lie about things, but like I think everybody knows that. And like you have to be aware, and you have to make sure you get somebody that's on, on the up and up, and you interview people, and we talk about that all the time. But a lot of these articles, are for clickbait, and you have to be careful, how you let that influence you.
Well, for sure. There's so much information out there today, but we're seeing a bit of an uptick in, I'm seeing some younger people coming forward, and I'm seeing my phone ring a bit more. We want to do this. So it might not be a bad year. I think there's gonna be more activity this year
I
than
hope so.
I think we're gonna see it. You know, we're having an earlier start to spring. Like the winter sports are done. You would know that today with change in temps, but I'm telling you, like we may see a bit more inventory coming on the board in March than we normally have.
Possible.
Not gonna do for pricing. Right now, it's tight.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Have we just done a bunch of videos on the months? Like it's tight in some price range. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens, but I do think it's gonna be a better year this year through more buyers are finally saying the Bank Canada's done raising. So now it's time to get off the couch and maybe start this process.
Hey, if you like our stuff, hit the like or subscribe, or drop us a comment and ask us some questions. We love comments, and we both answer our questions. I think we're pretty diligent with it.
Yeah, I think we've talked this to death. Time will tell.
I think so. Yes, it'll be interesting. We'll keep reporting, and we'll see how this goes.
Hey, have a good night. See you.
You too. Bye-bye.